In the year 2055, artificial intelligence has been incorporated into the American society, making things easier for everyone. Artificially intelligent robots now cook, do chores, engage in sports, and even join the workforce. However, the United States has declared war on AI after a nuclear warhead detonated in Los Angeles was suspected to have been detonated by an artificial intelligence, killing over 1 million people. Hello, and welcome back to I Am Movies. Today we're looking into the 2023 American science fiction action film called The Creator. But before we jump into the details, make sure to show us some love by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Now let's get right into it. The United States and the rest of the Western world banned AI and are determined to wipe out all forms of artificial intelligence. However, they are met by resistance from New Asia, where the remaining AI now live free as citizens. Now, in the United States' effort to wipe out AI, they have built a massive space station called the North American Orbital Aerospace Defense, also known as USS Nomad, loaded with weapons that can scan and destroy any form of AI. However, the creator of the AI, known as Nirmata, is also a wanted person, and the USS Nomad soldiers will stop at nothing to find him. Now, fast forward to 2065, 10 years have gone, and Nirmata is still on the run. Secret agents have found a new beach in Konang, New Asia, where some AIs are hiding and they are preparing to strike. However, Sergeant Joshua Taylor, an undercover agent working for the USS Nomad, is in bed with his pregnant wife Maya, who happens to be related to Nirmata. A few minutes later, they hear a loud sound, and some AIs led by Harun bring in a Nomad soldier they had just captured. Joshua puts on his prosthetic leg and arm and goes downstairs to see what's up. On getting there, Joshua sees the USS Nomad spacecraft approaching them. So he orders the AIs to prepare boats for their escape, and also orders Maya to go pack up her things. With everyone gone, Joshua pretends to have killed the soldier and silently begins to interrogate him. This soldier happens to be Joshua's colleague, Commanding Officer Drew. Drew tells Joshua that their order is to kill Nirmata. Then, Joshua tries calling off the raid, telling the USS Nomad that Nirmata is not with them, but Maya soon walks in on him, and she realizes that Joshua is still working with the USS Nomad. Maya points her gun at him and he begins to beg. Nomad soldiers soon hold Joshua down and Maya escapes, joining the others in the boat. However, the USS Nomad spacecraft spots the boat and drops a bomb on them, killing them as Joshua watches in pain. 5 years later, Joshua is now working at Ground Zero in Los Angeles as part of a cleaning crew in charge of putting away robots for disposal. One day, Joshua and his partner come across an AI robot that is still functional, and she freaks out. However, Joshua shuts it down as they watch the robot beg to be spared. It all looked realistic to his partner, almost like putting a human out of their misery. But Joshua reminded her that it was just programming. Later, while swimming, Joshua is approached by General Andrews and Colonel Howell, who are trying to recruit him for a new assignment. They claim to have gathered intelligence that Nirmata is now working on a new weapon that can destroy the USS Nomad. However, Joshua tells them that he doesn't care if AI wins or not, stating that he's lost everything and everyone he ever loved. Soon, Howell displays a holographic video showing that Maya is still alive. Seeing this, Joshua reconsiders his decision since he's the only one who knows the layout of the lab where the weapon is being developed. And of course, he'll get to see his wife again. Soon, Joshua joins Howell's team as they head to New Asia. Their mission is to find the weapon and destroy the lab. As soon as they land, they realize that a village has been built on top of the facility. So they begin to threaten and question the villagers about the location of the lab's entrance, but they all refuse to give it up. While they are still at it, Joshua figures out the secret lock, and the door of the lab opens. Following Joshua's direction, the soldiers get in, and soon open fire on the lab technicians. Later, local robot cops begin to approach the lab, but Bradbury, one of the Nomad soldiers, blows them up. Meanwhile, inside the lab, the Nomad soldiers come across another protected door that needs to be opened, and they begin to try hacking its passcode. Now, after a while, another batch of robot cops arrive, but they immediately open fire on Bradbury this time, and she calls for backup. So the soldiers decide to help her, leaving Joshua and one other soldier named Shipley behind. Now, while waiting for the device to hack the passcode, Shipley also gets a distress call from one of his colleagues named Daniels, and he rushes out to help him, warning Joshua not to go inside the room without him. After a while, the door opens and Joshua walks in, only to find a little robot girl. But as Joshua gets close, he gets shot by an elderly woman who orders the little girl to run, telling her to look for Nirmata. Meanwhile, a gun battle begins between Nomad soldiers and New Asia's forces, as Nomad soldiers try to escape the place before the USS Nomad's missile strike. Sadly, Bradbury gets a ticking time bomb stuck to her backpack, and by the time they notice it, it is too late. Minutes later, the USS Nomad destroys the lab with a missile strike. Joshua and the child later end up at a lakeside, alongside Shipley, who is now heavily wounded. Seeing that they are now surrounded by cops, Joshua quietly brings Shipley to a safe place and tries to get help. During this time, he realizes that the child has followed them and notices she has special abilities, as she has been built to remotely control electronic devices. Later, Howell calls in and asks Joshua to kill the kid, but she soon gets arrested by cops. However, as Joshua attempts to carry out his order, he notices a familiar Alpha Omega sign that the child had drawn. It is the same tattoo that Maya has. At this time, an adult droid walks in and tries to kill Joshua, but Joshua kills it first. This alerts the police, and they soon surround Joshua's hideout, but he manages to escape alongside Shipley and the child, which he later names Alfie. However, their van later breaks down and Shipley tragically dies in it. However, Joshua abandons him as soon as gets a free ride with a man traveling with his family. Howell also manages to steal a robot cop's car with one other soldier named McBride after shutting it down during transit. Hours later, they manage to track down Shipley's body and use his memory to temporarily talk to Shipley using the robot cop's body. However, they couldn't gather much information before it permanently went off. Later that night, the family man gets stopped at a checkpoint, and one of the soldiers asks Alfie to take off her hat, but instead, she uses her power to shut down all electronic device around, and they manage to escape as the cops begins to shoot at them. Soon, Howell and McBride get notified about Alfie's new location, and they turn around immediately. Later, we see a billboard that promotes donating your likeness to AI. In the meantime, Joshua continues to search for Maya, but all he keeps seeing are AI versions of her. Then Joshua and Alfie take a train going into the city while avoiding detection. On their way, Alfie asks Joshua about heaven, and he tells her that only good people go there. On hearing this, Alfie intelligently concludes that they won't both go to heaven since Joshua is not good and she is not a person. They finally arrive in Lelit City, but an informant spots them and reports to the New Asian authorities. Soon, Joshua and Alfie meet Drew, the same soldier that Joshua pretends to have killed when he was with Maya. Drew now lives with his own robot girlfriend Kami. He has since changed his mindset about AI and now works in a factory that produces them. Drew examines Alfie and concludes that he's never seen such an advanced robot before. It is determined that Alfie has not reached the full potential of her powers and can become the most powerful artificial intelligence with her current ability. Drew also hands Joshua a tracking device he once used to track Maya. After a while, Cammy takes Alfie upstairs and orders an ice cream for her. Soon, Alfie warns Cammy that the cops are coming and a knock is soon heard at the door for ice cream delivery. Cammy receives the package while jokingly stating that Alfie had raised a false alarm. However, she soon realizes the ice cream is a bomb and it explodes, killing her. Soon, new Asian cops begin to troop in and they all point their guns at Alfie, but as they try to kill her, Joshua comes to her rescue and manages to disable them. Drew mourns Kami's death and the backup police arrive. Seeing that Joshua, Alfie, and Drew have escaped, two police use this opportunity to turn against the robot cops, shooting them down as Howell and McBride are behind the disguise. Now, Joshua and Drew continue to follow the tracker, and it leads them to the same beach house where Joshua last saw Maya. On getting there, Joshua only finds the ring he gave her. This makes him angry as he begs Alfie to tell him where Maya is. Soon, Drew runs towards Joshua to warn him, but he gets shot. Drew is gravely wounded, but before he dies, he tells Joshua that Maya herself is Nirmata. Joshua and Alfie try to escape but are soon captured by a team of robot soldiers led by Harun. Joshua wakes up as a prisoner on a ship. At this point, Harun tells him the truth about the Los Angeles warhead, stating that it was a man-made coding error that caused it, but humans blamed it on AI. Harun also tells him that Maya became Nirmata after her father. The original Nirmata died. However, Harun says he'll never tell Joshua where the Nirmata is, because that's what Nomad wants. Soon, other AI robots begin to panic as they get reports that their base is under attack by Nomad soldiers. During this time, Alfie helps Joshua escape from his cell and he jumps into the water. Now, after the ship arrives at a village, Joshua waits until night and manages to sneak in to find Alfie and recover her. The following day, Howell and her forces begin to attack the village, using gigantic machines alongside suicide bombing robots that run into the village to detonate. So, as the second suicide robot runs across the bridge, Alfie manages to stop it midway with her power. However, McBride shoots Alfie, breaking the connection. McBride attempts one last shot to finish off Alfie, but Joshua kills him first. Regardless, the robot's countdown continues, and it blows up the bridge. Harun and his soldiers guide Joshua as he carries Alfie to a temple where she is taken care of. This is where Joshua discovers that Maya has been in a coma for the last 5 years, and since the robots cannot harm their Nirmata, they are unable to take her off life support. Joshua also learns that Alfie was based on his expected child with Maya. Joshua looks at his wife once more, then pulls the plug himself. However, Howl and her soldiers soon arrive at the temple, and they try to bring Joshua and Alfie in as they scan Maya's memory. However, Haroon shoots a time bomb at Howl's back, but Haroon also gets shot. The soldiers discover the time bomb at the back of Howl and try to remove it, but to Howl's surprise, Alfie manages to pause its detonation. Unfortunately for Howl's soldiers, they try to shoot Alfie, but before she can call them off, the bomb kills all three of them. Haroon gets up and tells Joshua that Nomad must be destroyed for the war to end. On their way out, Joshua takes Maya's memory with him and tries to escape with Alfie. However, they are soon abducted by Nomad soldiers in separate vehicles. Later, Joshua and Alfie are brought back to Los Angeles, where General Andrews orders Joshua to kill Alfie by himself, since Alfie won't let herself shut down so they can extract her body properly. The general mentions that if Joshua doesn't do it, then they will do other methods that will be unimaginably painful. Joshua and Alfie appear to share a brief, tearful final moment before Joshua finally pulls the trigger. Later, Joshua humbly asks Andrew to grant him access to see Alfie's last moments, and he agrees. On their way to the incinerator, news of anti-Nomad protesters forming in the streets gets out. Then, Joshua orders Alfie, who had pretended to be off, to use her power to control the vehicles. The vehicles start to lose power and end up crashing in the street. Soon, the two make their way onto a lunar shuttle heading toward Nomad, as Alfie uses her power to manipulate the system to gain passage. General Andrews and his team arrive at the airport, and they realize it's too late. However, they soon order for the flight's return. But Alfie takes control of the lunar shuttle and drives it to the USS Nomad space station. As soon as they land, Joshua and Alfie make their way through armed guards and eject them into space. General Andrew orders an immediate attack on all AI bases in New Asia, but as soon as Joshua learns this, he orders Alfie to use her power to shut down Nomad's power temporarily, as Joshua plants a time bomb on one of its missiles. Joshua orders Alfie to go back to the escape pod and meet him there. While on the way back, Alfie finds a room full of humanoid robot bodies and finds one of Maya's copies. Alfie puts Maya's memory inside this robot body in an attempt to wake her up and reunite her with Joshua, but it seems unsuccessful. Soon, Nomad's power is up and running. General Andrews activates a giant tentacle robot to finish off Joshua and Alfie as they try to escape. However, Joshua manages to disable the robot, but he is left trapped aboard Nomad after getting Alfie to safety. They share a final moment together, stating their love for each other before Joshua ejects Alfie's escape pod. Later, Joshua takes his final walk around the space station, and he finds Maya's robot alive. She recognizes him, and they embrace each other with kisses and emotions one last time. This time, the explosive engulfs the entire spacecraft, destroying the USS Nomad forever. The remaining missile strike gets neutralized as General Andrews and his team watch in shock. Finally, Alfie's pod safely lands on Earth, and she smiles as she sees everyone celebrate USS Nomad's final downfall. One key takeaway from the stories is the importance of understanding and cooperation between humans and AI. The narratives emphasize the potential consequences of misjudgment and the value of learning from past mistakes. The stories suggest that, by fostering trust, collaboration, and ethical practices, a harmonious coexistence between humans and AI can be achieved, leading to a better future for both. If you'd like to see us recap any other movies or topics you have in mind, just drop a comment and let us know. And don't forget to hit the like button, share this recap, and subscribe to stay updated for the next one. Until next time.